because generally you do need a device. You can do what's called cowboy or cowgirl style, which is basically just jump on the back of your boat to crawl up. But I gotta tell you, very few people can do that. Generally, stirrups that kind of, it's a nylon webbing that goes around your cockpit, and you can use as sort of a bit of a step. But unless you really practice those can be really awesome. I think there's a few other devices on the market, but the two most common are the stirrups and these things, paddle floats. So most people, if they carry these with them, they have an inflatable model. Obviously we use these just because they're easier and you don't have to inflate them all the time. These, so you would keep this sort of on your deck, and it just goes onto the end of your paddle, and it's called a paddle float. So I'm just going to throw this one over your guys' way, just so it's out of the way. So obviously I wouldn't paddle with this because it's extremely unwieldy and awkward. I would only put this on once I'm already in the water. Alright, so I guess there's nothing more to do but to get in the water. And hopefully I can do it properly. Oh, I already undid my skirt. Yeah.
So natural.
It can be sometimes. Especially when you know you're just getting wet. So I'll try and do the tap this time. Did everyone hear that tap pretty well?
Oh yeah. And that's while you're still in there.
Yes.
Before you pull.
Before you pull. Because once you pull, you're not going to be able to. Well,
okay,
you can do it afterwards if you need to. But remember, the key, if I pull, I can't tap underneath, but I'd already be out of the water.
Okay.
So it's to let you know that I'm calm.
Yeah, I'm good. Okay.
So here's the tricky part. So I grabbed my paddle. I already grabbed my paddle float, put it on the paddle, gives me some extra flotation. If you can, you want to try to empty some of the water out of your kayak. This can be very difficult. Not everyone can do it. Most people can do it a little bit because your kayak is heavy and what you're trying to do is kick and lift. Obviously if I had gear in there on a trip, I probably wouldn't be able to do that at all. But you'll notice that most of the water got out because of that. But it's not necessary. Just enough to give it extra buoyancy. What I can do now is I can bring my paddle float here. So actually, Esther, if you want to come closer so you can see better. And I want to try and lock it under my deck lines. Yeah, and so it's not great for your paddle to do this because you're putting a lot of pressure on it. But again, your equipment or your life. You'll see some kayaks will have actually buckle straps in this area designed specifically for this because they will not move as much as the rope will. So what I do now is I come from behind because you always want to be on the stern of the kayak. It's more stable, you see it's lower, it's flatter. And just like when you were doing a T-rescue, I don't want to go that way. I want to go slightly at an angle. So theoretically, if there was another boat there, right, I'd be using both boats. But this time I don't want to go over my boat. I just want to get up here and have some weight on the outrigger and some weight on the boat. So I go like this. I want to probably come up a little bit. Yeah. Right, that's the next step. Put my right leg onto the paddle float. And I'm slowly rotating. Okay. So you always want to have 3 points of contact. I don't move both feet at a time. I get 2 points of contact because my body's moving a lot. I don't lift myself up because you'll see just by doing that. And that was people were doing that with the T-rescues too, is it's natural to want to lift yourself up, but the higher you are, the less stability you have. So always stay as low as possible. Get one foot in there. Now here's the key. When I go to put my next foot in, don't do it until you're already leaning on the outrigger. Because if I go to put my other foot in there now, I'm going to start tilting this way and fall back in. So I want to make sure.
Oh, okay. You bring your upper body.
Because this is where I want all my weight, most of my weight on this side of the boat. Because that's where my outrigger is. If I do it like this, I'm going to start tilting back this way. So I make sure my weight's here, get my other foot in, and then I can sit down. And obviously, there's a good chance I'd have water still in my boat, so I grab my pump, I pump the water out, put my stick on, take the paddle clips off, and get it. Generally, if you're doing a rescue, you want to get off the water